What's the most embarrassing thing that can happen on stage? Forgetting the lines? Tripping? Or maybe standing there, smiling and pretending that you were supposed to pause for 10 seconds? For me, it's the last one, because even if I somehow survive the rest of the presentation, my brain will still replay the dramatic moment every night before bed. That's why every next performance feels more and more daunting. You know this feeling when you've memorized the script, rehearsed and practiced a lot before giving a presentation, so that everything goes perfectly. And yet when something goes wrong on stage, you freeze up, your mind goes blank, and the only thing you can think of is that everybody will now think how incompetent you are. You look people in the eye, and this distracts you from what you're going to say. Recently, I had a group project about a startup that I had to present to a businessman and my classmates. I got the script a few days earlier, memorized it, and rehearsed several times with my teacher, with a microphone and on stage, just like it would be for real. And guess what? On the day of my talk, I got increasingly nervous and my hands started trembling. As I started the presentation, everything went more or less smoothly. However, somewhere in the middle, I realized that I didn't quite remember the text, as the words were difficult and there were a lot of numbers. The presentation on the screen didn't help me much, because there was little information. Just the key points. As I was talking, I started panicking, and therefore I stumbled a few times over some lines, and at one moment had to pause for a second, just to organize my thoughts. There were two voices in my head, one nervously trying to remember what to say next, and the other frustrated by this unexpected pause. After a few seconds that felt like half an hour, I finally improvised and continued talking, although I think I skipped some lines. After everything was over, my teacher told me that everything was amazing and that she hadn't noticed any mishaps, although I thought it was quite a disaster. And when I was lying in bed that evening, I kept replaying that moment in my head, thinking about how I could have done better. Have you ever had such thoughts after you walk off stage? Was my presentation really that bad, or was it just in my head? I'm sure many of you can recognize yourselves here. So why do we focus on mistakes so much, wanting to be perfect? According to the research of a professor of psychology, Dr. Thomas Curran, and his colleague Andrew Hill, perfectionism has been rising steadily since the 1990s in the US and the UK. They call it multidimensional perfectionism. This means that we are surrounded by endless pressure to reach unreal levels and meet ever-growing criteria. Dr. Curran cites three types of perfectionism explained by psychologists Paul Hewitt and Gordon Flatt. Self-oriented, you expect yourself to be perfect. Other-oriented, you expect others to be perfect. And socially prescribed, you believe others expect you to be perfect. A study of over 40,000 university students from the US, Canada, and the UK from 1989 to 2017 found that perfectionism has increased a lot. Young people now set unrealistic expectations for others 16% more often, and the pressure to appear perfect has increased by 33%. As we can see, perfectionism doesn't lead to good results. Instead, it often leads to anxiety and burnouts. From my own experience, I know that if you can't do something perfectly, you keep putting off the task. If you worry that you will stumble over some lines in your speech again, you'll be afraid to step on stage in the future. This way, we gradually start avoiding presentations, group projects, and social events altogether. Because, as Theodore Roosevelt once said, the only person who never makes mistakes is somebody who does nothing. It's easier this way, right? But what if you stop for good? In the long run, you might miss out on chances to grow and share your ideas. As a result, your voice and creativity stay hidden, just because you were afraid to come across as not ideal on stage. This may lead to missed opportunities in your education or career. So, is the possibility of being not perfect so scary compared to missed opportunities? What if after your next presentation you'll get your startup financed and that will be the most successful business of the year? So, is it really possible to get out of this endless loop of overthinking your mistakes? I'm going to give you a few small steps that you can start doing today. First, Try writing down 3 things that went well after your speech. When I first did this, it was really difficult to find anything positive because my mind kept replaying the mistakes. But with time, I started to notice the good moments too. This shifts your focus from what went wrong to what worked. And next time you think, I'm so stupid, try, yeah, that part didn't go as planned, but I'm still learning. This small change can turn self-criticism into self-growth. What's more, instead of analyzing each word you said and focusing on the mistakes, try to notice the progress you've made. For example, if you have a video of your presentation, try watching it without judging yourself. There will always be room for improvement, but it doesn't mean that you're a loser. I have a suggestion for you. For 1 week, try speaking up and acting on the fly. Ask somebody a question without trying to make it ideal. Have a conversation and don't overthink it even for a second. We tend to believe that people will remember our every slip-up, but in fact, they're more likely to remember your laugh, smile, and how nice it was to talk to you. Think for a moment about the last time you talked with someone. Do you remember how long they were processing your questions? Or maybe their voice was trembling. Maybe they stumbled and had to rephrase what they were saying. What were they wearing? Do you at least remember who that was? And finally, if you're afraid of stumbling over exact wording, change the way you prepare. Instead of writing every sentence, outline only the main points and rehearse using different words each time. This will help you be more flexible if something goes off track. And remember that communication is about connection, not perfection. When you focus on sharing your message instead of performing flawlessly, the pressure to do everything perfectly slowly disappears. Being genuine helps people connect with you. When you stop pretending to be perfect and allow yourself to be real, people trust and understand you more. We're all human, and mistakes are normal. They don't mean failure if you keep moving forward. So, to wrap it all up, I'd like to say that making mistakes on stage happens to everyone, and it's not something to fear. We learn best when we make mistakes and keep going anyway. As Vince Lombardi once said, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. This means that nothing in life is perfect, but if we stop overthinking and simply do our best instead, we'll achieve success. Thank you.